En train de souhaiter la bienvenue à nos congressistes. J'ai juste un problème avec les interprètes.
Until that is done, now that I sat down and I don't have the light in my face, I want to give a warm welcome to our honorary presidents that are here, Horacio Muratore and Bob Elphiston, as well, joining us today for the FIBA Congress. It seems we have a technical problem with the interpreters. They are not getting the original sound back to them.
Bien, je disais tantôt bonjour, mesdames, messieurs les congressistes, chers invités. Bienvenue au 22e congrès de la FIBA. Sur ce, la cérémonie de cette 22e congrès est ouverte. Nous avons procédé à l'appel des membres. Nous allons donc au point 2, point 1, Welcome Speech. Nous allons commencer donc par Richard Bachman, le chairman de la Commission des sports de Philippines. Monsieur Bachman. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished delegates, and yet fellow basketball enthusiasts, welcome to Manila. It is an honor to be in your presence today as chairman of the Philippine Sports Commission and to address this esteemed gathering in the FIBA Congress, Manila 2023. Basketball, beyond its displays of athleticism and competitive spirit, transcends borders and languages. Throughout history, we all have witnessed how this sport has reached into the hearts of individuals and communities, fostering connections and forging bonds that know no boundaries. In the heart of this bustling city and its remotest villages, basketball has become a bridge, connecting people from diverse backgrounds and fostering understanding. The court is a canvas where dreams are painted with sweat and determination, where differences are set aside in pursuit of a common goal. It is here that we, Filipinos, find the true power of basketball, to inspire, uplift, and empower. Beyond the borders of this Congress, let us remember the countless stories of individuals whose lives have been touched by this sport we all have shared our lives with. From disadvantaged neighborhoods to conflict zones, we have seen how this sport offers freedom from adversity and a path towards a brighter future. Through basketball programs and initiatives, we have witnessed communities transformed, crime rates lowered, and education prioritized. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the power of basketball to change lives is a force that continues to inspire us Filipinos and the world. As we navigate the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead, let us carry forward the torch of this remarkable sport, using it as a tool to uplift, unite, and create lasting change in the lives of people around the world. Maraming salamat po.
Merci bien. Les interprètes, c'est bon? C'est bon? Ok, merci bien. Donc le deuxième intervenant, M. Thomas Bach, le président du Comité international olympique.
Cher Président de la FIBA et cher ami Haman Yang, dear Secretary General of FIBA, Andreas Zaklis, dear friends, these are exciting times for basketball. In this pre-Olympic year, you're about to make history with the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 held for the first time in 3 Asian countries: the Philippines, Japan, and Indonesia. This World Cup promises to be not only an exceptional sporting competition, it also demonstrates the great appeal of basketball as a truly global sport. Already now, I wish all the players a successful competition and all the best on the road to the Olympic Games Paris 2024. The strong standing of basketball in the world today is also thanks to all of you at FIBA. Under the leadership of your president, Haman Yang, you have not rested on your past success. With your strategic priorities, you have a clear roadmap: empowering national federations, promoting women in basketball, broadening the FIBA community. With this vision for the future, you're embracing change, modernizing basketball in innovative ways, and inspiring ever more people with sport and its values. A great illustration of this is the spectacular success of 3-on-3 basketball, or as I now have to say, 3x3 basketball. As I could see for myself, the outstanding Olympic debut at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 celebrated basketball 3x3 at its best. The innovative format, a useful energy, and fast-paced action, all these are the perfect ingredients for our goal of younger and more urban Olympic Games. Today, FIBA and the IOC enjoy a strong partnership. Together, we are working towards the realization of Olympic Agenda 2020+5, with a strong focus on how sport can contribute to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Our partnership is the perfect illustration of our new Olympic motto: faster, higher, stronger, together. From empowering women to trailblazing in the digital world to developing robust safeguarding measures, or your pioneering youth engagement through the FIBA Foundation. With all these initiatives and many more, you are truly leading by example when it comes to building a more human-centered and inclusive world. You're also leading by example when it comes to your trustful and fruitful partnership with the NBA. Thanks to this cooperation, basketball is becoming more popular around the globe, in particular among the young generation. For all these initiatives and actions, I would like to congratulate and thank everyone at FIBA. Thank you for the important work you are doing every day. At your Congress, you have now every opportunity to set the course for the future. On the road to Paris 2024 and beyond, building on the strong foundation that you have at FIBA, you can really look ahead with great confidence. In this true Olympic spirit, we can all look forward to excellent Olympic Games Paris 2024. I wish you fruitful discussions at your Congress and a resounding success for the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023. Maraming salamat po. Arigato gozaimasu. Terima kasih.
Merci bien, Monsieur le Président Thomas. Maintenant, nous donnons la parole à Son Altesse Royale, le Prince Faisal Al Hussein, membre du Bureau exécutif du Comité international olympique, président du Comité olympique de Jordanie, président fondateur de FIBA Safeguarding Council.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dear President Yang, dear Secretary General Zagelis, dear dignitaries from the Philippines, Indonesia, and Japan, Excellencies, National Federation Presidents, Secretary Generals, dear friends. I'm honored to be here at the FIBA Congress to address you all in my role as the founding chairman of the FIBA Safeguarding Council. As I'm sure we all agree, safeguarding is a vitally important subject, a subject that all of us in sports have a great responsibility to address. And FIBA should be commended for taking such a proactive approach in creating this Safeguarding Council. Working with my colleagues, I'm committed to ensure that FIBA does everything possible to protect and support its athletes and all its stakeholders. As many of you are aware, for a long time I've been a passionate advocate and activist for the improvement of safeguarding in sports, both the prevention of and the appropriate response to harassment and abuse in sport. I've set up and been involved in many commissions and committees focused on strengthening safeguarding, including as the chair of the IOC's new working group on safeguarding. That includes work done by the IOC, by international federations such as FIBA, and many other organizations across the globe. But there is still much, much more that must be done. It is not something that we can change overnight. It takes many years of hard work to simply get us to the point where robust systems and processes exist to protect the vulnerable. That is why, and I make no apologies for repeating myself, safeguarding and the provision of safe sport should remain a top priority for all organizations in every country. Harassment and abuse are a violation of human rights. If we safeguard people in and around sports, we can truly harness the power of sports for humanity. Because sports brings numerous physical and mental health benefits for everyone. It can promote social inclusion, cohesion, and interaction. It can positively contribute to social change. It can help us foster more peaceful, equal, and inclusive societies. But all of this brings an enormous amount of responsibilities to those running sports. We must ensure that everyone, children and adults, athletes and coaches, have access to safe, inclusive, accessible sporting environments. We can also use sports and the unique power it possesses in society to create a safer and more inclusive world. If there's any doubt of the importance of safeguarding, listen to these figures. Reports and research from elite athletes across the world indicate that a minimum prevalence rate for sexual abuse in sport is 13%. That is 1 in 8. And that is the minimum rate. Other studies have found much higher figures. And the rate of other forms of abuse is indicated to be much higher still. Safeguarding must remain a top priority for all organizations. And FIBA's commitment to safeguarding is clear for all of us to see. It is why I was delighted to join the Safeguarding Council as its founding chair, especially with 4 of the 7 members, including myself, not affiliated with FIBA. This means we are neutral, we are unbiased, and we're able to offer advice impartially. The speed with which FIBA moved to finalize a safeguarding policy in the second half of 2022 showed your commitment. To have FIBA, the International Federation for one of the most popular sports in the Olympic movement, take responsibility in this manner sets a fantastic example for other IFs. More importantly, for those of us here, it sets a fantastic example to you, the national federations. While FIBA is able to set guidelines and policy to advise you on how to best approach safeguarding, it has to be implemented at the local level. This is a key focus of the work that I'm leading with the IOC Safeguarding Working Group, in which FIBA is represented. We are working to establish independent systems and structures to support and assist with strengthening of safeguarding in sports at the local level. Change is coming, but we need national federations to drive this forward to ensure safeguarding is considered at every club. That is, every national federation around the world, because this is a global issue. During my involvement with safeguarding, I have seen incidents in all corners of the world. Nobody should believe that their country is free from such issues in this area. The responsibility falls on all of us. Much work is being done to ensure that organizations have the tool to prevent abuse and to ensure that when enough trust is gained for those harmed in sports to come forward, organizations know what to do to safeguard their well-being and ensure an appropriate response. Again, this is a key element of the work done by the IOC in collaboration with the Olympic movement stakeholders. Make no mistakes, building the trust for those harmed to come forward is essential. Without that, harm will occur and it will proliferate. Thus, when we talk about safe sports, we're also talking about the future of sports, the future of basketball. Children, the next generation of stars, need to have a safe and inclusive environment to fall in love with the game. They might love watching basketball, but if they don't have a safe space to play, then you risk losing them to other sports. The stringent zero-tolerance policies that FIBA has put in place will ensure that this does not happen. It is underpinned by the updated Basic Principles of Good Governance of the Olympic Movement, released in 2022. This requires all members of the Olympic movement to reflect in their respective rules, regulations, policies, and operations the need for, quote, a zero-tolerance approach to breaches of safeguarding principles adopted in all sports organizations at all levels, end quote. It also states the requirement to have an established, published, safe sports strategy. Tomorrow morning, there is a dedicated breakout session to discuss safeguarding. I'll visit the session and I encourage everyone to attend. This will ensure that we continue to adapt and are able to provide the safest environment moving forward. Let me finish by thanking FIBA for the return to Asia for this World Cup. Our continent is passionate about basketball, and it is an honor for us to host a second successive World Cup. In 4 years' time, we'll see the first FIBA World Cup in the Arab world in Qatar. That is an event I'm already excited for, and we know they will put on a great show. But first, I look forward for the competition to start this year. Good luck on all the competing countries, and thank you all for allowing me to speak to you today. Thank you very much.
Merci bien, Son Altesse. Nous continuons au niveau du point 3, une mémorial. Vidéo, s'il vous plaît. soit légère. Nous partons au point 4, l'adoption de l'agenda. Je crois que vous avez reçu les documents à temps. Est-ce qu'il y a des observations sur l'agenda? Merci bien, l'agenda est adopté. Le point 5, les PV du congrès mi-mandat tenu en 2021. Vous avez également reçu ce document. Est-ce que vous avez des observations? Bien, ce PV aussi est adopté. Le point 6, c'est l'adresse du président. Chers collègues, distingués invités, cette année marque la 4e et dernière année de mon mandat de président de FIBA. J'ai eu le plaisir de servir cette organisation pendant l'une des périodes les plus difficiles de l'histoire du basketball international. Nous avons dû faire face à plusieurs défis importants, tels que la guerre en Ukraine et la pandémie de Covid-19, qui ont provoqué l'un et l'autre des effets épouvantables sur les êtres humains. Face à la menace de la pandémie de coronavirus, la FIBA a réagi avec rapidité et agilité. Nos fédérations membres et nos partenaires commerciaux ont été au cœur de nos efforts pour maintenir notre sport non seulement en vie, mais aussi en tant que leader du mouvement olympique. Au début de l'année 2020, nous avons pris des mesures drastiques alors que la plupart des pays commençaient à peine à comprendre l'ampleur de la pandémie. Ces mesures préventives et l'adaptation du calendrier international ont été cruciales. Elles ont empêché la propagation de l'infection et protégé nos joueurs, mais elles nous ont aussi permis de reprendre rapidement le sport de compétition. Le recours à des bulles nous a permis d'organiser plus de 90 événements dans le monde entier pendant cette période difficile. Lors de notre congrès de mi-parcours, nous n'étions pas encore certains de la fin de ce défi. Aujourd'hui, il est bien au-delà de nos espérances. Je pense que la FIBA est sortie de la pandémie plus forte et mieux équipée pour faire face à l'avenir du sport, et c'est en grande partie grâce au travail acharné de nos fédérations nationales et de notre personnel au cours de cette période épouvantable. Il n'est pas fréquent que nous reconnaissions des individus, mais je voudrais vous demander de reconnaître l'énorme travail accompli par notre commission médicale en applaudissant son président, le docteur Peter Harcourt, qui est présent parmi nous aujourd'hui. Peter, merci. Alors que la pandémie était presque derrière nous, la guerre a éclaté en Ukraine. En tant qu'organisation, mais aussi à titre personnel, nous avons été clairs dès le début. Nous condamnons la guerre, nous condamnons la violence sans réserve ni condition, et en même temps, nous soulignons le rôle du basketball pour rassembler tout le monde. Malheureusement, il s'agit d'un cas où la politique a également envahi le sport en profondeur et tente d'influencer le mouvement olympique. En tant que sport d'équipe, nous souffrons d'autant plus que le comité international n'a pas encore été en mesure de proposer des solutions. J'ai dit hier au Central Board que ce sera l'un des défis les plus difficiles à relever pour le nouveau comité central que vous allez élire aujourd'hui. Mais je dois dire que je suis très encouragé par l'unité de notre famille, par la façon dont nous essayons tous de faire passer le basketball toujours en premier, car il est notre première priorité. Au cours des 4 dernières années, la FIBA a travaillé sans relâche pour élargir la famille du basketball. Pour la première fois, la Coupe du Monde aura lieu dans 3 pays. En 2023, les Philippines, le Japon et l'Indonésie, avec une population combinée de plus d'un demi-milliard de personnes amenant les Jeux de tout nouveau territoire. Un accent particulier a été mis sur la promotion, avec notamment 3 ambassadeurs exceptionnels.
Unique character. Unique chemistry.
FIBA Basketball World Cup is the peak of the game.
The World Cup is one of the toughest trophies in basketball to win.
That is why I will be there in 2022.
Because when you win for one,
You win for all.
La route vers l'événement masculin phare de la FIBA a été passionnante, avec de nombreuses étapes importantes, notamment le spectaculaire tirage au sort de la Coupe du monde de basketball de la FIBA 2023, présenté par Wanda, qui s'est déroulé ici à Manila. Autre première pour notre sport, la prochaine Coupe du monde masculine Qatar 2027 se déroulera au Moyen-Orient, dans la capitale Doha. La Fédération de basketball du Qatar a présenté avec succès une candidature qui offre une nature géographique compacte, unique pour notre événement phare, avec une programmation flexible des sites de tournois et un accent fort sur la durabilité. La prochaine Coupe du monde féminine en Allemagne en 2026 démontre la popularité grandissante de notre sport en Europe. Le plan de développement décennal de la Fédération allemande de basketball pour le basketball féminin est conforme aux objectifs de la FIBA et l'Allemagne a prouvé ses capacités d'accueil en 2022 lorsqu'elle a co-organisé le FIBA Eurobasket 2022 dont la phase finale s'est déroulée précisément à Berlin devant des foules immenses. J'ai dit précédemment que nous n'avions pas eu la chance au cours des 4 dernières années avec la pandémie et la guerre. Mais nous avons également eu la chance de vivre quelque chose que la FIBA n'avait pas vécu depuis Montréal 1976 et l'introduction des femmes aux Jeux olympiques. Il ne fait aucun doute que la plus grande nouvelle d'un point de vue sportif a été le début du basketball 3 contre 3 aux Jeux olympiques de Tokyo. Nous l'avons beaucoup attendu, nous avons même dû patienter 1 an de plus et nous retrouver seuls dans la salle, sans spectateurs, mais ce fut un immense succès. La croissance du 3 contre 3 au cours des 5 dernières années a été spectaculaire. Il a été introduit officiellement aux Jeux olympiques de la jeunesse de 2010 à Singapour et en l'espace d'une décennie, il est devenu un sport officiel des Jeux olympiques. L'année dernière, il a battu de nouveaux records avec le 3 contre 3 basketball en fauteuil roulant aux Jeux du Commonwealth, qui se sont déroulés à guichet fermé et dans une ambiance fantastique. Aujourd'hui, nous avons 2 disciplines olympiques et 12 médailles. Nos amis japonais ont fait un travail incroyable pour le basket, à la fois dans l'arène de Saitama et dans la salle de basket 3 contre 3 d'Aomi. Ils ont été d'excellents hôtes pour nous. Depuis le dernier congrès, nous avons également été témoins de la croissance continue du basket féminin avec une fantastique Coupe du monde féminine 2022 à Sydney, la meilleure jamais organisée par nos amis australiens. Conformément à la priorité stratégique de la FIBA, les femmes dans le basketball, l'événement a été marqué par des moments emblématiques, un record d'affluence et une fin de conte de fées pour l'une des grandes figures du basketball féminin, Lauren Jackson. En outre, la FIBA a réussi à collaborer avec la NBA pour introduire le Basketball Africa League en mai 2021, une compétition ouverte aux meilleurs clubs d'Afrique avec des équipes venant de tout le continent. Une compétition qui combine l'expertise commerciale de la NBA avec les principes sportifs des compétitions de la FIBA. Nous avons également pris une décision fondamentale au sein du Central Board, même si nous avons dû protéger les actifs de la FIBA pendant la pandémie. Le financement des fédérations nationales ne doit pas s'arrêter. Et je suis fier et très satisfait de la croissance de notre programme de développement, de la création de FIBA+, du travail de la Fondation et bien sûr des efforts incroyables de nos bureaux régionaux sous la supervision des conseils de zone. Je voudrais que vous sachiez tous que nous avons fait de notre mieux pour être à vos côtés, pour vous écouter et pour vous soutenir dans le plus grand programme de développement de l'histoire de la FIBA. Et je suis sûr qu'il y en aura d'autres au cours des 4 prochaines années. Je suis fier d'avoir rempli mon rôle de président de la FIBA et d'avoir représenté ma région, l'Afrique. Il est extrêmement important que les personnes de toute origine aient la possibilité d'être entendues et représentées, et je pense que la FIBA a un bilan exceptionnel à cet égard. Le système de rotation de la gouvernance permet à chaque région de participer à l'évolution de la FIBA en mettant l'accent sur la globalité et la diversité de notre sport, tout en veillant bien sûr à ce que personne ne soit oublié. Je voudrais remercier tous les membres de nos fédérations nationales pour leur soutien et leur travail au cours de mon mandat en tant que président de la FIBA. L'engagement et la détermination dont j'ai été témoin sont remarquables et sont de la plus haute importance pour la FIBA. Et bien sûr, je voudrais également exprimer ma sincère gratitude à l'ensemble du personnel de la FIBA qui a fait la gestion quotidienne des opérations à travers le monde une réalité et qui aide de toute manière possible à développer notre sport. Au nom de la FIBA, je vous remercie sincèrement pour vos contributions inestimables et inlassables. Ensemble, nous avons poussé le basketball vers de nouveaux sommets et élargi sa portée dans le monde entier. Ensemble, nous avons contribué à faire connaître notre merveilleux sport, le basketball, à de plus en plus de personnes qui l'aiment. Nous sommes la FIBA, nous sommes le basketball. Je vous remercie de votre aimable attention et vous souhaite un très bon congrès. Merci bien. On va au point suivant, c'est l'adresse le rapport du secrétaire général. Andreas Zaglis, vous avez la parole.
Thank you, President. Thank you for this fantastic introduction. Dear colleagues, here we are, 4 years after the last live session and 2 years after the first online Congress of FIBA, the midterm in June 21. It is a big pleasure for me to present to you today the activity report, an activity report that since we have a paperless Congress, you can all find under this link, and of course an activity report that was circulated already several days ago. It is of course not easy, and that's what we discovered preparing this report. It's not easy to summarize the work of 8 offices, of 190 staff from 46 nationalities, supervised by the central board that takes very important decisions under your supervision, the ultimate body of FIBA, the FIBA Congress. Therefore, the report today will have a summary manner, but I will be open, of course, at the end for your questions. FIBA has done all what you have seen and you will see today just by increasing its staff since the last report only by 6 employees. We were 184 last time I reported to you. We're 190 now. And the report you have seen has been delivered over the last 2 years, in the half part of it, at least, still in the pandemic. Let's not forget that only in the last approximately 12 months, we have been able to deliver in a normal way our events. We should not forget that we're living, even in this period, in the period of the Basketball World Cup 2023, the impact of the fact that we had to postpone several events and not have last year our gap year for the men's and put the full attention on the women's. All the FIBA staff and the Central Board have been working in a very committed manner, and we have tried to improve one thing at first, that is our communication. You have received more than 65 circular letters from my office, and this is the way where we try, this one FIBA family, to maintain the beauty of working regionally, however, not losing the beauty of verticality that we have in an organization with 212 members, but still a basketball family where the access to the President and the Secretary General should not be difficult, the access to the directors and to the board members. Now, the structure of the presentation today will be as follows. I will present first our status of the relationship with our two main institutional partners, the IOC and the NBA, and then we will look together at the work done on our strategic pillars. Why? Because since 2019 in China, where we approved the famous pyramid of our mission, vision, and strategic pillars, we have a common language of looking at our progress around the world. And we will see one by one these pillars in a moment. The third part of my presentation will have to do with the future, what is out there for us over the next 2 years. So we heard from the president of the IOC, and we had the pleasure to hear from an IOC executive board member, His Royal Highness, who honored us with his presence and is honoring us with his participation as founding chair of the Safeguarding Council, how close this relationship with the IOC is, and how important is the role of FIBA, the governing body of a major Olympic summer sport. We saw that in Tokyo. We saw that in Tokyo, not only, as the president said, with the debut of 3x3 and the fact that we have 2 Olympic disciplines. We saw it because Tokyo was Olympics in a bubble. And I can say with pride that perhaps no other or very few others had the operational capacity of these federations, the basketball federations and FIBA, to deliver bubbles during the pandemic. When we arrived in Tokyo, we had already delivered more than 90 bubbles around the world. So, of course, it was a longer one and a bigger one, but we had already delivered tournaments of 16 teams, let alone 12 and 12 in basketball. What we saw in Tokyo, and we have to acknowledge the work of Japan, it is very difficult to imagine where else in the world we would be able to have this level of care and operational delivery with a postponement of 1 year in the way the financial situation in the world is today. And we need to thank them forever for that. What we saw on the court, what is very important for us, what we saw on the court was quality and globality. The podium on the basketball men and basketball women had 3 different continents on the 3 medals, both in men and women. Now, of course, we had our debut, and we discussed a lot in the last Congress how the qualification to 3x3 became open to countries that were not or are not still traditional basketball powers. What we had not seen in the last Congress is the fact that a small country in population can win a gold Olympic medal like Latvia did. And that is what I will discuss later today. The power of 3x3 is everyone can dream. We also have ahead of us Paris 24. And Paris 24 will be, of course, one more showcase for our sport. The road to Paris has started, and it is the Basketball World Cup that starts in 3 days that will give us, besides the host of France, another 7 teams for men. Now, it is very important to say that in Paris, 3x3 will be played on a central square in an urban setting, being the #1, in our opinion, urban sport discipline in the world, and will have a fantastic setting for its promotion. On the basketball side, we will play the final phase in the most beautiful arena of Paris. And for the first phase, we have now received commitments that the health and safety of our players will be respected in the venue in Lille, and we are now awaiting to see these commitments coming into reality and practice with a proper air conditioning system built in the venue in Lille, where we played also our Euros in 2015. But here in the World Cup, and you know, some decades ago, the Congress used to take place during the Olympics. Here in the World Cup, you see a level of attention to the players and a level of quality that is continuously increasing. We have to understand ourselves that single sport events are much different, are becoming much different than multi-sports events. The IOC has Paris and LA and Brisbane, 3 fantastic host cities. But multi-sport events need to remain sustainable. So we also need to understand that as we continuously upgrade the delivery for our men and women's players, it is not always possible for the hosts of multi-sports events, sometimes even for the Olympic host cities, to get to that level because they need to take care of many other sports. This does not mean that we should devalue that property, which is a major date in our calendar and a fundamental goal for our federations, and has in our calendar an equal value with the FIBA Basketball World Cup, both for men and for women. However, for other multi-sports events besides the Olympics, you know that the Central Board has taken a position of principle that we prioritize 3x3 for the simple reason that the basketball calendar is already very, very burdened, very, very busy, and you do not have endless resources to appear in all competitions. In that respect, I want to say that this relationship with the IOC is not a relationship that goes through one person. This is a different approach that have been taken over the last years. The relationship goes through a number of FIBA board members, and of course, I have to acknowledge in this respect our 2 IOC members on the FIBA Central Board, in Richard Carrion and Eric Tohier, for their contributions and support. The collaboration with the IOC goes to other levels as well. Olympic solidarity, which is very important for all of you, has now expanded to 3x3, and you can find with your Olympic Committee financing for your 3x3 programs through Olympic Solidarity and the support, of course, of FIBA. FIBA was also present in the Olympic Esports Week in Singapore and is one of the few leading federations in that respect in a test event, and we will discuss this later. And of course, the first Youth Olympics will go to Africa in 26 in Dakar, in Senegal, where we will be represented again with our 3x3 discipline. The NBA, the National Basketball Association from the USA, a partner of FIBA since the late 80s, with a famous handshake between our late Secretary General Borislav Stankovic and late Commissioner David Stern, enjoys today an even stronger, I dare say, and certainly wider and deeper relationship. It is with pleasure that we're celebrating these days in Poland the 20 years of the BWB, the Basketball Without Borders, a program that is taking place in every region of FIBA and then at the All-Star Game of the NBA every February through its global camp. And this has been now, as an old project that is becoming more and more relevant for identification of talents and further development by their federations and clubs, fundamental. You will see how many BWB alumni are playing in this World Cup or are playing today for their national teams or in the NBA or in EuroLeague Women. And you will be surprised by how many we had discovered at an early stage, by how many came to these BWB camps and heard about professional standards, and at the same time heard, and in the future hear even more, as our Players Commission will embrace in the next term even more the BWB camps, with a clear messaging: it is important for your professional life to wear the NBA logo, but it's extremely important to wear the flag and represent your country. This is complemented now by the Junior NBA MOU, and I know many of you are using it. And all these are efforts that are working together for the development of the future stars who will compete in the top league, but who will also represent their country.
You don't need to be from the same space, from the same country, speak the same language. Basketball in and of itself is its own language, and capitalizing on the wonderful things that you learn from basketball through the game of basketball, like communication, teamwork, resilience, hard work, can allow you to travel, across any border.
This is one of the most spacious and unique camps for top talented kids all over the world, coming here together, practicing, getting to know each other.
It's great to be back. I try to come back every time I can. It was a huge opportunity for myself. It's 2015 to be part of this camp, so it's just a great opportunity to come back and kind of connect with the players and get to know them. And obviously there's a lot of talent, so it's good to see, and so it's always fun to come back.
Well, this is a project of 20 years that is continuously being upgraded. But there are also new projects, and several new projects, and in different areas, not only in the development of the sport in terms of grassroots or young players. In this term that is closing today, the major breakthrough in the relationship with the NBA was the collaboration in club basketball through the creation of the Basketball Africa League, the BAL. A league that, when we were last time in the midterm Congress, was just an infant that was beginning. Now it has played 3 seasons. A league that is a collaboration between the NBA and FIBA, which respects sporting criteria, which motivates a big number of countries in Africa through the road to BAL to build championships, to send their champion to the road to BAL and qualify, to build championships, and if they are one of the allocated countries, to send their champion directly to the final round, using the commercial genius that we have seen in practice from the NBA, as well as the know-how of FIBA in Africa, the long tradition of the sport in our continent that was operating a league for the champion clubs already for 30 years. And at the same time, making sure, in a very successful way, I must say, that there is an opportunity for African players to develop professionally for the first time in their own continent. Let's see how.
Welcome all of you to Kigali, the home of the Basketball Africa League.
La réalité là, c'est tout de suite sur le terrain.
Big shot, the full goal. Take on Al-Ali of Egypt and the winners of the 2023 Basketball Africa League are Al-Ali.
This is Kigali being a theater of African dreams, certainly, and it will continue to be so after 2 Afrobaskets, men and women, and 3 BAL editions. But it's much more than that. And it's much more than that because the NBA is collaborating with FIBA also on the next level, on the global level, which is the Intercontinental Cup. And I will explain later today how we have relaunched and upgraded this property into our essentially World Championships of clubs. And that is where we have had in the past the G League Ignite playing, the G League champion playing, and as of this September, 2 weeks after the World Cup, we will have the G League Ignite, an NBA-owned team with the best prospects of the game in North America, as well as internationally, to compete against some of our continental league champions. And that is a commitment, and that commitment is expressed also by the fact that the NBA has been, upon invitation of FIBA, next to us, also in the discussions that we have had over the last 18 months with EuroLeague, and I must say, in a very helpful manner. And the partnership expands to new areas as the esports and the NBA 2K, that with the help of the NBA, an agreement has been forged that will allow us to have now a proper esports, eFIBA competition that we will see later today how it provides you with a new product. Because that game is based on the NBA 2K Pro AM mode. We should not also forget the heart of this agreement. And the heart of this agreement with the NBA is the availability of all the basketball players in the world for their national teams. And that availability is made possible through the FIBA NBA partnership and in a continuously growing business for the NBA, where the income, the basketball-related income, is every year higher thanks to their success. We have continued seeing this commitment, and we have continued seeing a very positive attitude from the NBA Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner, which have facilitated us to renew our agreement on the insurance of the players and to have, from our side, the commitment that we provide excellent conditions for them when they come to represent the colors of their country, and from their side, their commitment that the players will be available for the major FIBA events as upon invitation. And for that, I have to especially thank Mark Tatum, Deputy Commissioner and member of the FIBA Executive Committee, who is, as the President said yesterday at the Central Board, a key person in this relationship. Thank you, Mark. Having covered our two institutional and strategic, I would say, partners, the IOC and the NBA, I would now like to go to looking at how we scored. In our sport, you need to score. You need to score if you want to win. And together, we agreed in Beijing on 8 strategic pillars. 8 strategic pillars for 8 years. And also together, we agreed on 3 clear priorities with empower national federations, women in basketball, and enlarge the FIBA family. Below, but not of lower importance, but we need to have priorities, 3x3, club competitions, financial growth, excellence in FIBA competitions, and develop youth basketball. And we will try to see together all 8 of those, although I would leave for my treasurer the work on the 8th pillar of sustainable financial growth, since he has quite a few good points to share with you today. First of all, empower national federations. This is core business for FIBA. This is what we have been doing since we were created 91 years ago, and this is what we will continue doing, working every day to empower you, which is not easy because we have also the role of regulating our activity, meaning regulating you. So we're here to service you and to work for you, but sometimes we also need to be in the unpleasant position of regulating the activity on the transfers, on the licenses, on the competition matters. So how did we approach this topic of empowering national federations? First of all, trying to create a program that can be tailor-made to each and every one of you. That is the FIBA Plus. The FIBA Plus, when we were in the midterm Congress, I basically presented it as an experiment. You remember I mentioned that we did some online tests. We tried to approach some federations. We had just issued our big strategy handbook. And today, 26 months later, I'm proud to be in front of you and say, FIBA Plus has covered and continues to cover more than 90 national federations of FIBA. I have to be honest, the target was 100 coming here. I think we are short by 2-3 countries. So I guarantee you we will catch this before the end of the year and surpass the 100 federations. But how this happened? This happened because after the first round of FIBA Plus, we had to listen, take in the feedback, and understand not every type of the program is for everyone. So we created 2 different types. FIBA Plus Performance, for those who are already at a certain level and have different priorities. They have their structure, they have their office, they have their governance already done, and they're looking to shape their vision, their mission, their steps for the next years. And to those who are much more volunteer-based organizations, who are struggling every day to get government or NOC funding, and those who want the FIBA assistance to jump from step 1 and 2 and 3 to step 10. That is FIBA Plus fundamentals. And I was recently in a regional assembly, and I started feeling bad at one point because a couple of federations said to me, well, wait a minute, all the others here in my zone or subzone have done it. I have not done it yet. Why not? And this showed to me that indeed FIBA Plus is the innovative development program of FIBA.
The FIBA Plus program was created and launched by FIBA with the idea of our current strategic focus of empowering national federations to boost grassroots and to strengthen the potential of developing the sport in their respective countries.
FIBA Plus is just a perfect way for FIBA to get the message to their federations about what's going on. And in addition to that, it's a great way to help build federations to become better than what they already are.
And how basketball can be used as a tool to initiate positive change in their respective countries. During the workshop, they have to develop a strategic focus to help them reach their maximum potential.
It's absolutely critical that you have a strategic plan to have a clear roadmap, not only for you, but also for the different stakeholders that are gravitating around your federation.
The things that we were exposed to, the opportunities that are there, building future women leaders, it is giving me confidence and opportunities to show that we're here working for the greater good.
Well, it is much better when the federations talk than I try to convince you that what we're doing is good. I do find here a challenge, and the challenge is that in the last 5-6 years, where we have managed to have more resources thanks to our new competition system and to being one family, we have been rolling perhaps too fast some of our programs. And we discovered, both at the central board as well as in the daily work with the management team, that the federations have difficulty of finding out the programs. We heard several times, you offer so many programs, it is difficult for us to catch up. It's difficult for us to really select. Sometimes we don't even know some of the programs you're offering. We do clinics for referees, normal. Coaches, normal. But we have started doing education programs for table officials, statisticians. I saw our team in Asia was going to a photographer's session. You know that we have a special dedicated manual and publication quarterly for medical doctors of national teams. Do you know we have the FIBA Executive Marketing Program that more than 85 federations have participated in it? We saw the need of putting everything together, not to control, but to organize so you can find everything. And to add some new items in this curriculum. Because in this room, there are some newly elected presidents, some new secretaries general. These colleagues should be helped by us to push the fast forward button, not just to try to come to the Congress to start traveling around their continent and learn from the others. We will therefore also have in what we call now the FIBA Academy, programs for the staff and for the leaders of the federations. Because the only way for us to succeed is if the people in the federations are top class. And now that we have proper product with the windows and regular participation and a number of youth events and 3x3 where all of you can participate, we have product, we can attract good people, and we can bring them closer to what is needed to make a national federation grow. So this will be the FIBA Academy. FIBA Plus, FIBA Academy. Another area that I must say goes now through more and more organization is the basketball equipment support. We put down the figures, more than 150 federations have received either a floor or scoreboard or balls or backstops or other types of assistance. Let's not forget, through our partnership with Genius, we have the FIBA Live Stats. Through our partnership with Synergy, we have the FIBA Connected Stadium with the automated cameras. These are opportunities that are out there for you from FIBA. And this is something that I can tell you in the next 4 years we will try to make even more systematic. And this number would be 180 if Asia was not closed until almost 10 months ago in several countries. And we had problems in bringing in equipment. Therefore, I must say that empowering the national federations, our core business has made a lot of strides, but there is still a lot of work to do. And tomorrow, there is a breakout session dedicated for you to discuss with the staff, and several central board members will attend, and we need there to have your feedback so that we shape better these fantastic tools that are the FIBA Plus and the FIBA Academy. And President, I think I should take a pause now and have our coffee break of 10:30 so that I can keep my colleagues really at the edge of their seats when they're back with a little bit of caffeine in their body. So 30 minutes, with your permission, coffee break, and we return at 11 o'clock. Thank you very much.
Henderson to Jones. Differential shot clock, game clock to the outside.
Rosrowski now dives, oh, down the lane and throws it down.
Roll again from the right.
Job splits the defense. Top move. Yasin Job. Long baseline spin move. Put up on the right. Patient kicks it inside behind the back pass.
What can Mekic do? He can put a long three up and rattle it home.
Racino, nice play, the dodge.
Cole Poland marking it for the game. Got it!
Hama Dembele. Now Pansera for the win. That'll do it.
Crossbow and one. Gets the ball.
Hail Mary 3. Oh, baby! There's a penetrate. Oh my goodness gracious! Well. Gets the and one.
All the way to the wire. Inside. Oh, there's the poster. Out of the races. Oh, on the one-hand hammer. Martin Carrion 3, and it's raining.
Markkanen!
Doncic.
Paso behind the back to Delia, and he throws it down.
What a throwdown from the corner. Go.
Now Benite goes behind the back, gets it up quickly. Are you kidding me? Big time shot.
Oh, little step, hands it off. Oh, it's a thing of beauty. Stewie for three. Nails it. No foul call. Ventilator. Oh, here's the three.
corner. Buenos noches, España.
How did she do that?
Dantes, a little fake out. Driving, Euro, in for two.
Oh, over the head. Oh, what a pass. Caneza, a little bit of magic.
Oh, goodness gracious, are you kidding me? He steps back, he's fouled while shooting the three! He banks it in!
Baseline, my man! What a finish!
Henderson to Jones.
Differential shot clock, game clock, Julie outside.
Ostrovsky now dives, oh, down the lane and throws it down.
And the dog.
Roll again from the right.
Job splits the defense. Top move. Yasin Job. Long baseline spin move. Put up on the right. Patient kicks it inside behind the back pass.
What can Mekic do? He can put a long three up and rattle it home.
Filipino. Nice play, the dunk.
Poland marking for the game. Got it!
Layup up and good! Mama Dembele! Now Panzera for the win. That'll do it.
And cross foul. And one! Gets the ball!
Hail Mary 3. Oh, baby! There's a penetrate. Oh my goodness gracious! Well. She gets the and one.
To the wire. Inside. Oh, there's the poster. Out of the races. Oh, and the one-hand hammer. Martin Carrion 3, and it's raining.
Markkanen. Doncic. Oh! It's Campasso behind the back to Delia, and he throws it down.
the throwdown from the corner. Go.
Now Benite goes behind the back, puts it up quickly. Are you kidding me? Big time shot.
Oh, little step, hands it off. Oh, it's a thing of beauty. Stewie for three. Nails it. Oh. No foul called. Ventilator. Oh! Here's the three.
Pump fakes, another three-pointer. Brutal snatches, España.
How did she do that? Dantes, a little fake out. Driving, Euro, in for two.
Oh, over the head. Oh, what a pass. Caneza. A little bit of magic.
Oh, goodness gracious, are you kidding me? He steps back, he's fouled while shooting the three! He banks it in!
What a finish!
Henderson to Jones.
Swarovski now dives, oh, down the lane and throws it down.
Roll again from the right.
Job. Splits the defense. Top move. Yes, Job. Long baseline spin move. Put up on the right. Patient kicks it inside behind the back pass.
What can Mekic do? He can put a long three up and rattle it home.
Racino, nice play, the dodge.
Cole Poland marking it for the game. Got it!
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We ask everyone to please return to your seats. Our program will resume in 3 minutes. Once again, we ask everyone to please return to your seats. Our program will resume in 3 minutes. Thank you.
C'est bon, président, merci.
for the win. That'll do it.
Crossbow and one. Gets the ball.
Hail Mary 3. Oh, baby! There's the penetrate. Oh my goodness gracious! Well.
Bien, la séance est reprise. Monsieur le secrétaire général, vous pouvez continuer.
Thank you, President. We're slowly back. Thank you for returning. I take the opportunity to acknowledge the presence of Namibia in the room. So that makes us 148 national member federations of FIBA present. So, we discussed already the first of our three priorities, empower national federations. Now moving to the second one, women in basketball. And we saw a video which I find one of the most moving videos that we've produced, the one of the Women's World Cup, which, besides being the best ever, it brought the competition and the women in basketball delivery at a different level. Big thanks to Basketball Australia and to the chair of the LOC and our president in Oceania, David Reed. A fantastic experience. The Basketball World Cup for women was not, of course, the only action. It was the highlight, certainly the highlight. We said at the beginning, for women in basketball, we have to start looking for a quantitative exercise, increase the numbers of players. We benchmarked, we did a study of across all national member federations, we published it, we know that's where we are and that's where we want to get. We increased 30% the licensed referees, and we'll have another jump of at least 10% on the already 30 increase of licenses. And what is very important for the referees of women is not only that we have more licenses, but they are now more holding the black license. The black license, which allows you to officiate the highest level competition. We had in Tokyo Olympics 2 women, one from Brazil and one from Canada, officiating men's games. And for the first time in a Basketball World Cup for men, we have here in Philippines, Japan, and Indonesia, and I had the pleasure to visit the officiating team 2 days ago, 3 women for the first time in the roster of 44 referees. Because what they need is an opportunity. And I told them, you're not here because you're women and we have a women in basketball strategy. You are here because you have the level. And it's a question of quality. So this quantity exercise has to become a more quality exercise in this next 4 years. And when it comes to coaches, you know that we have increased the number of assistant coaches and head coaches for the simple reason that in all youth female events of FIBA, it is mandatory to have a woman coach on the bench. And we have discussions now whether we should perhaps broaden this requirement to senior competitions or to men's competitions. Because at the end of the day, now the start happened with the referees, we had a woman coaching a men's team in the America, that was Virgin Islands. We had a woman coaching a men's team in Afrobasket, that was Kenya. We need also women to coach men's teams in the World Cup. And we need to help them, to give them the opportunity to break that ceiling as well, because they have the quality. Now, in terms of the process that we've done these 4 years, and especially the last 2 where we could work more without COVID restrictions, we took a very successful program in Europe that my colleague Kamil has been running for a few years, the Her World, Her Rules, and we made it a global project. In the 2021 midterm, I reported to you 70 federations. Today, I report to you 119 federations that are part of the Her World, Her Rules, direct financing from FIBA to you for the promotion of women's basketball, attracting girls in schools to play our sport. We will open again in the end of the year. Please apply. Please apply. I have to say it again. Please apply for a Her World, Her Rules program financing. This is fundamental. And I must say, it is fundamental because this strategy has to be a strategy that covers all aspects of women's basketball. Because we cannot fulfill our vision of being the most popular sports community in the world without a big growth of women's basketball and with more women in basketball. So it is not a nice to have. It is a must have, it is a necessity, and needs a clear strategy that everybody can understand.
Women's basketball is experiencing a huge boost in popularity, and FIBA aims to make sure that this continues with our strategic objective, Women in Basketball. We've developed the Women in Basketball strategy to ensure the sport can flourish at every level, targeting 6 main areas: participation, coaching, impact, fans, governance, and diversity. To boost female players' participation, we will develop global campaigns to help increase the number of licensed players globally for both youth and senior, and assist national federations in developing grassroots basketball programs. We'll support women on their path to achieve the elite levels of coaching and officiating, and boost nominations for female referees across all competitions, including senior men's. Through targeted communications campaigns, we'll showcase both players and the sport at large to attract a wider audience and increase the number of fans, as well as leveraging events to help commercialize women's basketball. We will continue to integrate more women at governing levels across the FIBA family by modernizing regulations towards gender-balanced best practices and developing a pipeline for women to access governance roles, as well as enhancing the visibility of pioneering women leaders. We'll focus even more on increasing diversity within FIBA, fostering a culture of equality across our organization, and attracting new talents to the FIBA family. Finally, we aim to raise the profile of FIBA's flagship competitions, the Women's Basketball World Cup, the 3x3 Women's Series, and the EuroLeague Women, and establish club and youth competitions across all regions to maximize the impact of women's competitions in both basketball and 3x3. We believe our strategy can push forward women's basketball into a new era, boosting the sport's growth and helping to reach its true potential, both on and off the court.
Well, this is our strategy, and there's a breakout session tomorrow morning where you will discuss every piece of that strategy. But there is no doubt that the path is ongoing. We had a seminar July last year, 88 countries participated. We have seen several federations submitting to us their draft strategies of women in basketball, or creating new ones, or updating the old ones. Now, what is important, besides the referees and the coaches that I mentioned, is we need to see a difference also in this room. We need to see a difference in the boardrooms of our federations, and we need to see a difference on the central board. We need to see a difference in the FIBA management team. The executive committee appointed the first woman on the management team, first woman executive director in Amanda Jenkins for Oceania, after David Crocker fully committed himself to the World Cup. That was a start at the top of the FIBA staff hierarchy, but this is of course not enough. We have implemented in the Americas, starting the Adelante program, led by two central board members, Ms. Gallen and Ms. O'Keefe. We have started the We Lead, Women in Leadership in Europe, endorsed by the European Union. The commissioner endorsed in the first meeting, and we had fantastic speakers. We have expanded that to Oceania, and we are starting in Asia, in Africa. But I will tell you, the statutory step we took last time in the Congress to have 30% in all the commissions, we will have difficulties to catch, but we will catch it during this term. The nominations that I have received from all of you do not have enough women in them. And this is the time that we need also to make our self-assessment. Of course, FIBA has the opportunity to nominate, and we have seen several talents in these administrators, young leaders programs, and we will give these women the opportunity. We will not give them a seat at a commission because the statutes say so, but because we have identified that we need them for the growth and the advancement of our organization. Perhaps not being able to accommodate anymore as many National Federation men presidents as in the past, but we need to understand that we have to take, let's call it a hit in that respect, for those that would like to be more represented in favor of women that can bring value, more value to the organization. And this is a step that we'll have to take. And I really encourage you, those of you who have employed a Secretary General, those of you who have elected a woman president, those of you who have leader directors, women, give them the opportunity. Give them the opportunity and let them show to us how much they can do. Now, in this respect, I also need to say that what we do in the boardrooms is reflected many times on how we decide about what happens on the court. And if we did not have the women in basketball strategy, we would have stayed with a World Cup of 12 teams. And this will not happen. The World Cup will return to 16 teams when we go to Berlin in 2026. And a major decision in this new competition system is that in the summer of the Olympics, instead of only 12 of you having program and all the others having no women's program, in the summer of the Olympics next year, we start the qualification to the World Cup. And we will give a chance to 16 additional teams to play. And these 16 additional teams, by agreement of the Central Board, would be 4 per continent. And we know now several of you who were 6th, 7th, 8th in Eurobasket, or 3rd or 4th or 5th in Afrobasket, or in Asia Cup, or will not qualify to the OQT from the Americas or from Asia. Those of you will play next year, after Paris, a qualification to Berlin. Why? Because we need, on the women's senior national team level, a little bit bigger depth, because our goal is to expand the 16 to more. But what we have done at the Central Board is men 32 in the World Cup, women 16 in the World Cup, and 16 playing the qualification to the next competition. So also 32. But the second 16 is the ones we need to improve, the ones we need them to be competitive with the top, so that we can increase the World Cup from 16 to 18 or to 20 teams in 2030. This is an ambition that that I would like all of you to join in order to make it. And that will not happen only on the basketball side. That has to happen on the 3x3 side as well. And in 3x3, during this term, 2019-23, we created a new product. We created the professional tour for women's 3x3. It's called the Women's Series. It involves teams from the national federations. It involves also commercial teams who contribute in order for us to faster close the gap of the prize money. And the prize money for the Women's Series in 21, when we were at the Congress, online, I told you it's 100,000 euros. In 22, dollars. In 22, it was $500,000. This year, Women's 3x3, the prize money is $1.2 million. Meaning, in the months between May, June, and August, September, our women athletes can make perhaps more money than they would make in their basketball club during the club season, or even at the highest professional levels. So what we had to do is really to provide the opportunity to female players for a professional career with the 3x3 Women's Series. This is women's basketball at its best. Let's move to the next one. Enlarge the FIBA family, our third strategic priority. I would say the most difficult one to capture, to understand, to communicate, and that's why we will improve this now in the next 4 years, and we will discuss this at the end of my presentation. First of all, enlarging the FIBA family institutionally. We have broadened our collaboration with organizations that share many of the values and also business interests with us. We have an MOU with UEFA, our neighbors and leaders in football, besides, of course, our institutional relationship with our colleagues at FIFA. We have embraced wheelchair basketball. We have broadened our collaboration with them, and also we have formalized our relationship with the deaf. We have a formal relationship with the International School Sports Federation, because I know some of you are also participating through the school system of your country in those events for the categories that we don't have competition, perhaps some under 14s or under 15s that are important in your country. And of course, certainly in that respect, on the institutional side, there is no doubt that part of that is the work with the leagues. The work with the leagues, we have, especially in Europe, where there is a longer tradition of national, strong domestic leagues, we are now, I would say, at the best of our collaboration with the Union of the European Leagues, ULEB, with a formal MOU, with regular meetings and alignment also in our complaints in front of the European Commission against some of the practices of EuroLeague. Of course, with EuroLeague itself, the relationship has gone through certain and many phases. And it has entered a new phase since the last midterm Congress. That is a phase of trying to sit down together and align strategies. A phase where FIBA has taken already several steps, accommodating requests from our clubs, from our leagues, and showing also to these top clubs of our ecosystem, these are FIBA clubs playing in their domestic leagues, that we are here to serve our members, our federations, our leagues, as well as our clubs, because their success is also our success. But their success cannot come to the detriment of the other stakeholders in our sport. So this is a search for balance. FIBA initiated a discussion at the end of 21, included the NBA in this discussion, took several steps during the pandemic, increased the credibility and the relationship with the clubs, increased the credibility and the relationship and the trust with the leagues, and is now in a position to sit at the table with a strong negotiating position, with clear principles that the Central Board has given to the management in order to negotiate, with a united voice of FIBA from Geneva and the regional office in Munich, with a united voice of the Central Board and the European Board, and say to this company, well, we want you to succeed, but that should happen within a few, very few, but fundamental for us, parameters for our ecosystem, the respect to the calendar, the respect to the national team, the respect to the official rules of basketball, the respect to the domestic leagues and to the national teams. We were, I must say, in a good position to have discussions. Unfortunately, on the other side, there were several fundamental institutional changes, 3 changes of CEOs, but we did manage last month to put, for the first time after 19 years, our signatures next to each other and agree on a transitory phase for the next season, whereby our one window, exceptionally one window for that coming season, because it's after the World Cup, we will play in February, that window to be respected also by EuroLeague, where they will interrupt their league for the first time, and first time over the last 6 years, because they were interrupting the EuroLeague in 2001 and 2003, to interrupt and release their players, not only to European national teams, but also to national teams in Asia, Africa, Oceania, and the Americas. Now, it is important that this institutional work does not stay by itself. It has to be accompanied by work to enlarge the FIBA family to people who are not members of that family. So it's not only trying to bring back in those who didn't want to be members of ours, but it's also attracting new. And this is the direct-to-consumer tool, the Courtside 1891, our partnership with 2 Circles. I hope you all have downloaded the app on your mobile phones. I hope you follow the Game Center with the results, and also you register to follow our major competitions. We had very good collaboration with several national teams in the lead up to the World Cup, and of course our major event will be on it. Our communications team, not only in the headquarters but in all regional offices, has been doing wonders. They have doubled the engagement on social media in the last 24 months. FIBA is a top three international federation in social media. And in addition, 3x3 accounts by themselves are also in the top 10, having surpassed other sport disciplines. Now, how would we remain relevant for the new generation? We heard from His Royal Highness earlier, we need to safeguard the new generation that is in the sport so that they don't leave the sport through a bad experience. But how about bringing more people that are not bouncing the ball yet, but they like to bounce the ball on the screen through a joystick? This is a new audience. These are new fans. This is eFIBA. And this is a new product for our federations with a huge potential.
Every single time that you put this jersey, your national jersey, it's a huge honor, it doesn't matter if you're doing in the real court or in the virtual court, you need to give your best, bodily, mentally, and it's an honor to play FIBA as I play for Brazilian national team when I was in the real court. So yeah, man, Yeah, man, I think like everybody wants like to defend your country, you know? So you need to do your best like every single day. You need like to keep grinding, keep developing in your game. So you had like the opportunity to be in here in that kind of stage, you know? Like it's almost like step by step. So when you get here, when you realize this thing, this is structure in here, like playing against the best players in the world, like that's why you need to be here, you know. You need to want at least like to be here, you know, bro, because it's totally different, this environment in here. Like the guys, FIBA, it's like totally in a good path, you know, like see where we started like 3 years ago, and now like being in here, the first tournament in person, you know, like dealing no online things, no lag excuses, you know, like now it's real, man. If you don't perform in here, it's because you're not good enough, you know, so there's no excuses anymore, like everybody's together in the same place, so we need to do our best.
Well, this is one of the top players of our ecosystem, the captain of the Brazil FIBA national team, and it's good to hear. It's good to hear from a user. It's good to hear how they see us and how they believe we can make new steps. This is what my colleague Frank Lenders likes to call the child of COVID. It did accelerate our plans, and it will accelerate further our plans now, the agreement we have with the NBA, with the 2K and the 2K League. And FIBA Season 2 is starting. I have the pleasure to report to you that we have more than 50 national federations that have registered, and I really look forward to the first event where the players will be in the same venue, because you know you need to be in the same venue to be connected to the same internet to compete. And we need to understand that the esports are now, as an industry, surpassing traditional entertainment industries by a lot. So we cannot be out of this. We have to be in. Even if I heard for the first time today, I have to be honest, the words bowling mentally. But it is what they do, and this is what many of the kids in our sport do. And, well, this is good to be modern, this is good to be present, this is good to attract the new generation. But I would say a third element in enlarging the FIBA family, which we have really put the next gear in since 2020, is the equipment and venue center. Because we realized there are a lot of manufacturers of basketball equipment, all types of basketball, from the balls, to the floors, to the scoreboards, to the backstops, to the stands, to you name it, to software, to training equipment, where the ball returns to you through an automatic ball machine. And all these stakeholders want to be part of the FIBA family, and we want to set the FIBA golden standard. We have 15 accredited laboratories around the world that test this equipment. We put the FIBA approved stamp. Yes, we generate some revenue, but most importantly, the FIBA stamp is a quality reference. You may go to a store in your neighborhood and you will see that the ball that has FIBA approved stamp is more expensive and better than the one that it does not. And that is how we come close to every single consumer every day with our brand. And the FIBA Equipment and Venue Center worked hard, not only in that respect, but worked hard also in terms of innovation. Because we have managed a few weeks ago in Madrid to prove that a federation of 91 years old can be innovative, can be at the forefront of the developments, can be cool. if this is not cool, I cannot imagine what is. We could do more. Our sport was invented on a wooden floor. Our sport has been played on a wooden floor or plastic or concrete, but our sport has never been played on glass until a few weeks ago. This is homologated, this is tested, this has passed all the tests in the laboratories in terms of absorption, in terms of bouncing. It is a floor that the central board took the bold decision of approving for level 1 competitions. So we will see it in more FIBA competitions in the future, and we have debriefed, and we'll keep you posted on that. But we wanted you to see how we believe we can bring our sport to new levels through enlarging the FIBA family. I would like to move now to the next point, going now to the other 5 objectives, and we will of course go through them slightly faster, starting of course with one which is fundamental, because we operate in a pyramidal structure with the international federation, our zones, our federations, and our clubs with our leagues at the bottom of the pyramid, and we cannot operate as a credible international federation growing its sport without a proper, understandable system, global network of club competitions. This has improved. This has been one of our priorities, I must say, over the last months, and will become, as of today, hopefully with your approval, one of our main priorities, because this is where we find a great value for our members, for our players, for our clubs, and for you. Through particularly the Basketball Champions League in Europe and in the Americas, through our partnership with the NBA on the BAL that I mentioned earlier, but also the Road to BAL, that is our Africa office organizing, through the top women's competitions, the EuroLeague Women and the EuroCup Women, we have managed to show FIBA can deliver high-level, quality competitions. To those of you who say, are you FIBA are doing only the national teams? The answer is no. FIBA delivers top level competitions for clubs and national teams. And we have proven that, and we have proven that also with the upgrading of the Intercontinental Cup that has had the pleasure of being upgraded, having Africa joining and playing in Cairo last year. And then a 3-year agreement with Singapore, starting on the 21st of this coming September, where, for the first time, we will have Asia joining. Asia through a team of China, as well as the champion of the West Asia Super League. Our new league, one more league after BCL, BCL Americas. We have started now the West Asia Super League, covering more than 25 countries in Asia, the West subzone, the Gulf subzone, the Central subzone, as well as the South subzone that join in the final phase. And this was a very successful competition that saw a very successful final phase in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. And there is no doubt more to come as we work more. Of course, working with the clubs is fundamental. Working with the clubs requires investment. We welcome strategic investors, and of course, we need, in that respect, also to strengthen our commercial activity in addition to the already very well established and successful commercial activity for our national teams. Now, going to 3x3, our second Olympic discipline. I say it every time, but you will not mind if I say today, we are one sport, not two sports, we are one sport with two Olympic disciplines, with two disciplines, basketball and 3x3 basketball. And 3x3 has seen a tremendous growth after Tokyo, and we expect also another jump after Paris. The team that has not become a much bigger team, as you saw at the beginning of my presentation in terms of staffing, that was delivering around 70, 80 events a year, delivers more than 160 FIBA 3x3 official events and supervises another 150 qualifiers. The numbers are tremendous. We have 3x3 events, especially now during the summer of the Northern Hemisphere, every day for 29 days in a row. Some of you, a couple of presidents, I will not name them, told me, Andreas, I don't even know anymore where my national team is playing. I cannot follow it anymore. This is the activity that we want. This is where basketball does not invite, like we do now for the World Cup, the people to buy a ticket and come to the closed venue. This is where basketball goes to the people, goes to the center of the urban network. This is where basketball, 3x3 basketball, goes and becomes the attraction of the pass buyer, someone who is going to the mall to shop, someone who is going for a walk at the center of the city or passes by a park. And a very good example of that, I must say, was Austria, the 3x3 World Cup, delivered at a high level on and off the court. Fantastic images, well done, Johannes. The message, I think, however, from this World Cup is everyone can dream, because we saw their national member federations who would have in basketball a much higher ladder to climb to the top, finding the opportunity and beating opponents that are much higher ranked. This is where, in the Zone Cups, in the World Cups, we have seen the St. Lucias, the Trinidad and Tobagos, the Madagascars, to name a few, to name a few of those who believed and started working hard on it early. They took advantage of the breakout sessions in the last congresses. We've published a manual of how to be successful in 3x3 in 3 languages. We have published the day before yesterday, the new coaching manual, a special program prepared by the WABC, our Association of Coaches, with 3x3 experts, where you can have a certificate of understanding how to prepare a 3x3 team. You cannot coach it because there's no coach during the game, but it is requiring a different level of preparation. The Youth Nations League, and that's where we will put the focus, the under 21 and under 23 categories. Those players, men and women who did not make it to become professional, and they find the opportunity now. That is the chance of my life to be in the Olympics. That is the chance of my life to be in the World Cup. And that is a chance of my life to make serious money, because the Men's World Tour is distributing almost $5 million this year. And 1.2 in women. The Men's Tour has a history of 12 seasons. The Women's Tour only of 3 seasons, and we want to close the gap. But this is serious, professional interests. And the national team that can play to the World Cup, whether this is the under 23 or the Open World Cup, can be, and I believe this, I sincerely believe this, any one of you in this room. And we cannot say this for basketball. I cannot say every one of you can play the FIBA Basketball World Cup. You would not believe me. You would say I'm saying this because I'm standing in front of the microphone, but I do say it and I believe it. Every single one of you can play the 3x3 World Cup. And I hope you put it as an objective for your federations. The 3x3 will continue to provide you the opportunities, and I believe with the Youth Nations League, this is the first step to take. We have our colleague from 3x3 here attending the Congress. Please attack him with questions, with information, and FIBA will continue investing heavily in 3x3 and into your programs. Now, Excellence of FIBA competitions, which in the course of the 4 years, it became Excellence of FIBA national team competitions, because we have a dedicated pillar for clubs. First, the youth. There, I have to say, well, I can say we were visionary, but I have to say we were lucky as well. We were lucky because when we said, we have a problem with the hosting, we don't have many hosts, we need to change the model and start awarding these events on a multi-year basis. And then Hungary came up, and then Spain came up. They saved these youth events during the pandemic. And when a host had to withdraw, not Hungary, not Spain, for 2021, Latvia raised their hand and took the biggest bubble of 16 teams. And the reward for them was to have Wembanyama and Holmgren, #1 of the draft in 22 and 23, playing in Arena Riga. And I think those autographs of the young Latvians will have a high value in a few years. So we are very thankful to Hungary, to Debrecen, for delivering 3 World Cups, 2 of them with COVID restrictions. Can you imagine having to host 16 national teams from around the world with restrictions, with COVID, with individual rooms in many cases? And Spain, Malaga, and Madrid for the under 17 and under 19. So this was a success. We're continuing. We'll be in Turkey as of next year with 2 editions. We, of course, open up to new countries. We will go to Mexico, we'll go to Switzerland on the 90 years from the first Eurobasket that FIBA organized. We'll play an under 19. But Czechia will also take 3 Youth World Cups, continuing this successful model. And this excellence in FIBA competitions is combined with how our partners see our events. But it's one thing receiving the money, the sponsorship fees, and it's an entirely different thing when our partner really activates, really invests into branding their products with FIBA, from the Tissot watches to the Ganton waters to TCL supporting our Her World, Her Rules, through all other companies, through Molten doing the incredible activations you saw in Sydney, and now me in clearly risky position of making one of our partners unhappy by not mentioning them now, through activations that are fantastic, I must say, the J9 Trophy Tour and so on and so forth. This is what gives value and raises the level, raises the awareness of our competitions. The investment in TV production, it is 4 words. I said 3 words. It sounded like Charles Barkley, 3 words. This investment in TV production is one of the biggest investments of FIBA in our budgets. Why? Not because of only the World Cup TV production, because the qualifiers are requiring us to cover the broadcasting fees and hosting broadcasting fees around the world in many countries. However, we're ready to burden that, take that burden, and where we have profits, we redistribute with our federations, because the excellence of FIBA competitions requires a standard of TV broadcasting, and we cannot have a lower standard. We need to have good light in the venues, good camera positions, good camera angles, in order for our product to be recognizable everywhere. And our product is not only the World Cup, our product is the Continental Cups, men and women. The FIBA family, the FIBA staff works together, whether this is an AmeriCup, an Asia Cup, an AfroBasket, or a Eurobasket. All the offices collaborate for that. And for that reason, I have zero hesitation of showing to you what was last year a great exhibition of excellence in FIBA competitions, the Continental Cup that attracted most attention last year.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's game day 1 of Eurobasket.
Doncic.
Here come Ukraine. They look long. Oh, what a play!
Three. Got it. Big time 3.
Recovered the handle on the ball. Long range 2. But Captain Courageous. Satoransky have led this team to Berlin.
And he gets a shot off. Markkanen. And the drive. Oh, the swat by Terry Tarpey. Ponitka. Poland and pulled off the shot of the FIBA Eurobasket. High arcing play. Look at that.
France advancing to the title game.
Roder gets rejected.
Germany gets to the podium.
Fournier gets in and he dunks it. They can't stop that. Gomez.
Spain, winners in 2009, winners in 2011, winners in 2015 are going to again win the FIBA Eurobasket.
The Continental Cups are the heart of what we do, and the Continental Cups were saved because as a FIBA family, we took a decision to postpone them by 1 year, except the Afro that we could and managed to play in Rwanda in August 21. Knowing that this was putting a burden, knowing that this may have an impact perhaps on 25, because we're going now into 4 years in a row, 4 summers in a row for our players. But the result is what you saw on the screen, because we will not be always having all the players. This is not possible. But we need, as a FIBA family, to take the opportunity where the players are healthy, are available, want to participate for the national team, to play in the AmeriCup, in the Asia Cup, in the AfroBasket, in the AmeriCup, in the Eurobasket, and give them the opportunity also to play at the World Cup. And the road to World Cup is for us where we embrace the family, 80 national member federations. And when we started, you remember, we don't have 80 teams. Well, we do. We do have 80 teams. We even have more because in the continental qualifiers, we have 104 participating. We do. And how we realized that? We realized it in February, where we realized that the 32 that are coming here, 9 of them were not in China. 9. We have almost 30% of the countries that play in the World Cup new, not new in the World Cup, but new compared to 2019. This shows that the qualifiers have given us depth. This shows that the qualifiers have given product to our national member federations. And these were 18 fascinating months on the road to Manila. No, that's not the right one. That's not the right one. I would like the qualifiers video, please. And if we don't have it, I go on, no problem. That is okay. Take 5 more seconds, we go on. So, I would like to continue with the next, and I will make it a point that we watch later on the qualifiers video because it's really worth it. But as I go into the close of my presentation on the strategic pillars, I would like to mention the Develop Young Players pillar, which is an important one for us. And it is the one where we try to bring the 2 generations together. It is a pillar where not only our offices are working hard, but our Players Commission, led by Dirk Nowitzki, takes great interest in. The Players Commission participates in players' workshops, organizes players' workshops during our youth events. In Debrecen, we had Dino Raja, for example, legendary player, winner of the World Cup, teaching the players what is up next in their careers, how to deal with the agents, how to deal with the parents, how to deal with the club, how to deal with the social media. Player workshops is one way of doing it. The other is the player mentors. We have provided a program that will now go as part of the FIBA Academy because FIBA offers so many programs. Player mentors supervised by the Players Commission. Every federation can have 1 or 2 or even 3, because then we need to include a woman, mentors that will be advising you, your board, and the families of the young national team players for the next steps of their careers, so that it's not only the agents that talk to them. It's not only the club owners and GMs that talk to them. It is also the federations that talk to them through their former stars, through well-equipped and educated people who know what the message should be. Of course, one of our biggest investments as FIBA family, both from your side in terms of travel and preparation, and from our side in terms of subsidizing, hosting, is the youth continental competitions. The under-16s and the under-18s are fundamental, are at the core of what we do, and I believe this is going to be further deployed deeper into the continent so that more countries can participate. And it is, of course, occupying a big part of the budget, but this does not bother us at all because this is investment in the players of the sport. This is also not only development, this is the moment where the players feel the value of the national team jersey. And this is where you create the loyalty with your national team. And you don't forget, I played an under-16, I played an under-18 when I was just in high school. I will return to defend this jersey at the highest level. And I have to say that one of the programs that I'm very proud of, we started in the Americas, has expanded now to Africa. We even had a super camp combining the 2 continents. We have plans for Asia and in Europe with 16 youth national team competitions. I think we do more than enough during the summer for these players, is the youth development program, what we call the YDP. YDP. Beautiful images, because it's not very often that we see FIBA in the center of the shirt. Usually it's a small logo on the side of the uniform, and these players are very often expressing their gratitudes. I think a couple of YDP alumni will play in the World Cup that starts in a couple of days. So before I close the 8 strategic pillars, there is a last point there, which is presenting a challenge. And we should not just say what we do well, we should also say where we need to improve and where we have challenges. And this is the challenge of professional pathway. The professional pathway for our players has become much more complex. It's very difficult for them to navigate. We have federations that have a club system or a high school system. That's quite simple. What happens after that becomes very complex. We have a lot of private academies. We have, of course, NCAA, which was until now offering an academic opportunity. So the players had to choose between an academic opportunity and an early professional career. And I always ask the question to people who complain, what would your son do? Or what would you want your son or your daughter to do in that case? The difference is, today, the NCAA is offering also money. And these are the NILs. And the NILs are there because, indeed, our players are extremely popular already at a young age. We had, in the last Under-17 Women's World Cup, I remember, in Debrecen, our communications people, after the award ceremony, gave me a nice push out of the court, because a very high-profile player with 700,000 followers was making a live stream, and that is, of course, what we want. We want promotion for our competitions. And when they arrive at the college level, they're remunerated for that. And that is a big challenge to our clubs. To our clubs at the lower level, because the bigger clubs are taking the players, they believe, very cheap. A challenge to the next level, because the NCAA is taking the players, and the NCAA is outside the system. A challenge to the top clubs, because they also lose the players to the NCAA, and they also complain that they lose the players to NBA. But of course there, the differences in salaries is evident. But they want, seeing at the football numbers, bigger transfer fees. So this is a complex exercise for us. The Central Board has addressed it in the meeting in April, and with the new legal commission and excuse me, with the new legal commission that is coming in as of 9th of September, we will certainly have a special body, a special group of lawyers appointed to study this remuneration system, compensation system, and redistribution in reality of wealth to the extent we can control, because we have to admit, even the world governing body has to admit, that it cannot control everything in the area of the basketball industry. So this is really hard work to do. And I would like to use this as a bridge to discussing now our strategy. And as we go into the updated strategy priorities, and before I touch upon them, I would like to show you, and I promise this is my last video for the day, what is in stock for us over the next term of office that starts today, our 2 major events, and then attack with a proposal, the strategy.
Berlin. 30-plus clubs, 250-plus courts throughout the city. One common denominator, basketball. From the youth level all the way to the pros, Berlin's brand of basketball is unique, and so are their fans. Setting the stage for the world's basketball elite to compete at the highest level, surrounded by a breathtaking atmosphere. World-class venues, including the iconic Mercedes-Benz Arena and Max Schmeling-Halle, will host the world's top teams. We are proud to welcome the world to one of the most vibrant metropolises, with over 150,000 hotel beds available in the immediate vicinity of the venues. Hop from one game to the next without missing a beat, with one of Europe's most modern and efficient public transportation systems, and with short distances between hotels and venues. Berlin is ready to host the basketball world's elite and celebrates women's basketball at its finest. Time for her game in Berlin.
The FIBA Basketball World Cup 2027 comes at the right time for Doha and Qatar. We've been on a journey where sport has played a major role as we strive to realize the Qatar National Vision 2030. We host prestigious annual sporting events. Last year, we successfully hosted one of the greatest events of them all, the FIFA World Cup. We have the infrastructure and we have the expertise. There's very little we don't know about how to put on a show.
Well, let's talk now what we do until we arrive in Doha, in Berlin first for the women and in Doha for the men. Let's talk about our strategy, our 8 pillars, our pillars. Enlarge the FIBA family and women in basketball are proposed by the Central Board to remain as our priorities. As I mentioned, empower national federations, is our core business, and women in basketball is a necessity. We believe very strongly in both of them. Enlarge FIBA family has been now, and I will show you how, distributed. Its goals and objectives have been distributed in another, I would say, objective. And we would like to bring upstairs the SHAPE International Club competitions, to use the next 4 years with you in order to shape really this global network, to arrive in Doha, hopefully, with a completed edition. If we can, also with agreements with all the stakeholders in our sport. But we should not limit our ambitions. We should bring back the FIBA Asia Champions Cup, take it to the next level, BCL in Americas, BCL in Europe, BCL in Asia, BAL, these champions playing against each other at the Intercontinental Cup, looking at our plans in Oceania, looking at our plans in East Asia, looking at our plans in Southeast Asia, looking at peace, so-called, in Europe. And this is a lot of work to do, and it will require a lot of attention and resources in order to strengthen really that arm of our body. And this does not come alone. This would come with continuous investment into 3x3, the most thrilling urban sport, with excellence of FIBA national team competitions, continuing to develop in youth basketball, and bringing enlarged and sustainable financial growth, merging them in sustainability and innovation, where we believe that we should include the safeguarding aspects, the integrity aspects, and the aspects that bring the work of our foundation with the UN sustainable goals into the heart of the work of our federations. And we will hear later today, from President of our foundation, our honorary President Orazio Muratore, and our manager TJ Bullock, a lot of work that the foundation is doing for you around the world through these Basketball for Good projects. You'll also hear from the treasurer shortly how we managed as an organization to break even despite the COVID, despite the incredible, I would say, record losses in the history of FIBA in 2020, making 2 good years in 21 and 22. And he will explain to you how we manage that in a few moments. But this is the approach we would like to take with you. This is the updated strategy that was brought from the Executive Committee to the Central Board and today to the plenary session of the ordinary FIBA Congress. Empower national federations, women in basketball, shape international club competitions, and then continuing 3x3 national team competitions, youth basketball, sustainability, and innovation. Because I do believe, and I say this from the heart, that as one FIBA basketball family together, this is our language, this is our roadmap for the future, and this is the roadmap for our vision of making basketball the most popular sports community in the world. Thank you very much.
Merci bien, Monsieur le Secrétaire général. Chers membres du Congrès, est-ce que vous avez des commentaires, vous avez des questions? Sinon, le rapport du Secrétaire général est approuvé, s'il vous plaît, par acclamation. Merci bien. Donc, on va au point suivant, c'est le point 9. Le point 8, le rapport du trésorier. Monsieur Ingo, vous avez la parole.
Ja, meine Damen und Herren, sehen Sie es mir nach, ich werde in Deutsch sprechen, meiner Heimatsprache, weil ich dann vieles einfacher vielleicht auch erklären und verdeutlichen kann. Als allererstes kann ich ja nur verlieren. Ich kann nur deshalb verlieren, weil bei der exzellenten Ansprache des Präsidenten und des Generalsekretärs und des tollen Berichtes, wir sehen Videos, wir haben viele Beispiele und dann kommt der Schatzmeister, der zeigt eine Präsentation mit vielen Zahlen. Tja, da kann ich eigentlich nicht gut bei aussehen insgesamt. Aber seien Sie versichert, diese ganzen Zahlen, die ich Ihnen zeige und die gute finanzielle Lage der FIBA hat das alles möglich gemacht, was der Generalsekretär vorhin präsentiert hat. Es hat das möglich gemacht, was wir in den Videos gesehen haben, und es hat das möglich gemacht, was wir auch in Zukunft wollen. Ich will an der Stelle auch noch mal sagen, ich war sehr beeindruckt, Prinz Faisal, über Ihre Ausführungen, und auch Safeguarding werden wir in jeder Art und Weise finanziell innerhalb der FIBA unterstützen. Doch lassen Sie mich nun ein klein wenig auf unsere Zahlen einsteigen. Und bevor ich auf unsere Zahlen einsteige, möchte ich gerne noch mal so ein wenig die Welt der FIBA in Erinnerung rufen mit unseren Regionalbüros, einmal FIBA Amerika natürlich mit unseren Büros in Puerto Rico und in Miami, einmal Afrika mit unserem tollen Headquarter, der Residenz von Alphonse Billet in Abidjan, dann natürlich Europa, die eigenständige Organisation dort, innerhalb unserer FIBA-Familie in München, dann in Asien, wo wir mit vielen Orten vertreten sind, weil Asien auch sehr groß ist. Das alles organisiert und geplant unter Führung von Hagop. Einmal in Singapur natürlich, dann unser Büro. Kelvin habe ich gesehen als Leiter unseres Büros in China, in Beijing. Dann unser Headquarter in Beirut, unser Hauptquartier dort. Und natürlich an der Gold Coast, Ozeanien, für uns auch wichtig, auch im Hinblick auf die zukünftigen Olympischen Spiele in Australien. Aber nachdem ich nun ein klein wenig gekommen bin, nach dem, was Sie sehen, wo wir überall vertreten sind und wo wir überall Aktivitäten entwickeln, kommen wir dann zur nächsten Seite. Die nächste Seite, da wollte ich gerne zu Anfang einmal mit Fakten anfangen. Und zwar Fakten, auf die das Central Board, auf die unsere Familie, auf die auch Sie als Delegierte, denke ich, sehr stolz sein können. Es waren schwierige Jahre, insbesondere das Jahr 2020. Die FIBA kann nur Geld verdienen, wenn sie Maßnahmen hat, wenn sie Veranstaltungen hat, wenn sie Wettkämpfe hat. In einer Zeit wie Covid war das für uns sehr schwierig. Unsere Partner haben aber zu uns gestanden. Daher möchte ich an dieser Stelle auch unseren Partnern nochmal eindeutig danken. Und alle Verluste, die wir in 2020 gemacht haben, konnten in den Jahren danach kompensiert werden. Das ist nicht einfach gewesen. Da danke ich an dieser Stelle allen Regionalbüros, allen Mitarbeitern und auch den Verbänden natürlich, die uns immer hilfreich zur Seite gestanden haben. Toll für uns und sicherlich wird unser ehemaliger Präsident Bob Elphinstone jetzt ein klein wenig schmunzeln und sich auch freuen, weil unter seiner Ägide wir das Patrick-Baumann-Haus initiiert haben. Und er hat gemeinsam mit meinem Vorgänger Manfred Ströer vieles gemacht, um dieses Haus und diese Heimat des Basketballs, ihre Heimat, quasi in Mie in der Schweiz zu bauen. Wir hatten nicht genug Geld, um dieses Haus zu bauen, was in der Schweiz nicht billig ist. Wir mussten uns Geld von den Banken leihen, um zu bauen, was ja eigentlich ein ganz normaler Vorgang ist. Nur ein exzellenter Vorgang ist, glaube ich, dass man innerhalb von 10 Jahren so viel Geld ansammeln durfte, dass man dieses Haus schuldenfrei abbezahlen konnte und wir jeglichen Kredit bei der Bank in der Schweiz zurückzahlen durften und nun schuldenfrei sind. Das Haus in der Schweiz gehört Ihnen, den Mitgliedsorganisationen der FIBA. Wir haben auch, und da bin ich auch stolz drauf, in dieser Zeit erhebliche Unterstützung für die nationalen Verbände geleistet. Wir haben ca. 83 Millionen Schweizer Franken ausgeschüttet. Ich werde nachher noch ein klein wenig ins Detail gehen, um was es sich dort handelt. Das ist zum einen Teil natürlich ein Teil der Versicherungen. Das ist zum einen Teil natürlich auch eine Entwicklung und Jugendförderung. Das ist Development. Wir haben viel für unsere Wettkämpfe und Wettkampfmaßnahmen ausgeschüttet. Von daher können wir sagen, auch das ist von uns aus der Schweiz, an die Verbände gegangen. Wir haben unsere Regionalbüros, die wir haben, die ich vorhin Ihnen auf der Landkarte gezeigt habe, finanziert, zum Teil finanziert. Einige haben eigenes Geld erwirtschaften können, einige brauchten von uns entsprechend auch Zuwendungen und Zuschüsse. Insgesamt sind über 75 Millionen Schweizer Franken in diesem Zyklus an die Regionalbüros geflossen. Also auch keine unerhebliche Summe. Und wichtig für uns ist auch, eine gewisse Liquidität zu haben. Eine Summe von 38 Millionen Euro zurzeit als liquide Mittel, als Barmittel bei uns sind, glaube ich, sehr wichtig, um entsprechend auch für die Zukunft gut aufgestellt und gut handeln zu können. Manchmal ist Cashgeld auch sehr wichtig, gerade auch in Zeiten, wo man nicht genau weiß, was passiert. Wir haben immer noch eine sehr unsichere Zeit in Richtung der Lage des Krieges in Russland und der Ukraine, bedauerlicherweise. Lassen Sie mich nun ein klein wenig zu den Balken kommen, damit Sie sehen, wovon ich gerade geredet habe. Wir haben eine FIBA und wenn Sie eine FIBA, unsere konsolidierten Zahlen sehen, dann sehen Sie in 2019, im Jahr unserer Weltmeisterschaft, haben wir natürlich eine erheblich hohe Summe gehabt. Wir sind über 140 Millionen gegangen und haben auch einen ausgeglichenen Haushalt gehabt. Wir haben viel investiert und wir haben, denke ich, auch eine tolle Weltmeisterschaft in China gezeigt. Und wir haben Glück gehabt, dass Covid erst nach der Weltmeisterschaft angefangen ist und nicht davor oder währenddessen. Das hat uns, Entschuldigung, wenn ich das so sage, rein fiskalisch sehr gut getan. 2020, Sie sehen dann das Desaster, das war das Covid-Jahr. Wir haben dort ein erhebliches Minus eingefahren, was gar nicht anders zu erwarten blieb. Wir haben natürlich wesentlich weniger Einnahmen gehabt. Wir haben wesentlich höhere Ausgaben gehabt. Und wenn ich da dann auch noch eins zu sagen darf, ich glaube, dass die FIBA und das ist wichtig, insgesamt einer der besten Arbeitgeber im Sport ist. Wir haben keinen einzigen unserer Mitarbeiter entlassen müssen. Wir haben keine Finanzen, wir haben keine Gehälter reduziert, sondern wir haben auch unsere Mitarbeiter geschützt. Und auch das ist wichtig, weil das für mich ein entscheidender Faktor ist. Im Jahr 21 ging es so leicht wieder bergauf und im Jahr 22 sehen Sie auch, sind dann auch zum Teil die regionalen Veranstaltungen gekommen. Es sind die Olympischen Spiele in 21 durchgeführt worden. Es wurde also insgesamt besser. Nach dem Diagramm möchte ich dann jetzt einfach in die Zahlen einsteigen und dort einmal schauen, wie weit wir dorthin kommen. Wenn Sie jetzt die Beträge sehen, die wir haben, das sind die reinen Beträge, mit denen wir gearbeitet haben und mit denen wir auch vor Ort arbeiten konnten. Ich will jetzt gar nicht im Großen und Ganzen auf die Beträge eingehen, weil Sie die alle sehen können. Und ich darf in dem Zusammenhang auch sagen, Sie können gerne ein Foto machen, aber Sie kriegen hinterher natürlich diese Zahlen auch, weil alles hinterher auch veröffentlicht wird auf unserer Homepage und auch im Internet, da wir da auch sehr transparent und sehr offen sind und da auch nichts zu verstecken haben. Nichts zu verstecken haben deshalb, weil, wenn Sie sich die Zahl am anderen Ende anschauen, wo ich total sehe, da sind wir als FIBA in unserem Zyklus bei fast 1,5 Milliarde Schweizer Franken, die wir umsetzen. Und das ist für einen Sportverband, so wie wir ihn leben, glaube ich, eine exzellente Summe. Und das macht uns am Ende des Tages natürlich viel Arbeit. Aber wenn wir mit diesen Zahlen arbeiten, und da möchte ich an dieser Stelle ganz besonders unserem Finanzchef in diesem Fall, Patrice, ganz herzlich danken mit seinem Team, der mich immer sehr gut begleitet. Und natürlich Patrick Mallier, der das von Anfang an mit mir gemacht hat. Dann freue ich mich natürlich, wenn wir diese Zahlen gemeinsam auch so bearbeiten können. Nun lassen Sie uns ein klein wenig auch in die Zahlen reinschauen, damit man sieht im nächsten Slide, worüber wir denn reden. Viele fragen immer, was macht ihr denn an Geldern und was habt ihr denn entsprechend für Einnahmen? Die Olympischen Spiele haben uns am Ende des Tages und die Qualifikationsturniere zu den Olympischen Spielen ca. 31 Millionen gebracht. Wir haben die nationalen Team-Competitions, das heißt, wir haben die nationalen Mannschaftswettbewerbe gehabt mit ungefähr 47 Millionen. Und wir haben die Vereins- und Profi-Wettbewerbe gehabt, sowie andere Wettkämpfe mit 23 Millionen. Das heißt, wir haben aus den Wettkämpfen ungefähr 102 Millionen an Einnahmen gezogen. Daran sehen Sie, wie wichtig die Wettkämpfe für uns sind. Als nächster großer Faktor, und das ist eigentlich der entscheidende Faktor, und da steckt natürlich unsere Marketing-Ebene unter Leitung von Frank Lenders, der das im Übrigen aus meiner Sicht exzellent macht, hinter. Wir haben dort unseren, ich nenne das jetzt mal unseren kommerziellen Teil. Unser kommerzieller Teil ist natürlich auf der einen Seite unsere Sponsoren und Partner, natürlich auf der anderen Seite auch die Medienrechte, die wir haben. Und wir haben auch sonstige Einnahmen, die hinzukommen, die insgesamt mit einer Summe von 287 Millionen Schweizer Franken zu Buche schlagen. Dementsprechend haben wir noch kleinere Einnahmen an der einen oder anderen Stelle in Höhe von 13 Millionen. Somit kommen wir in unserem Zyklus auf die vorhin in den Balken Ihnen gezeigten 423 Millionen Schweizer Franken. Natürlich, als Schatzmeister ist man dann traurig, man kann das nie irgendwo in seinen Schatzkeller packen, sondern man hat dann auch Ausgaben, das heißt, das Geld geht dann auch leider wieder raus. Auch das ist, denke ich, okay, wie Sie sehen. Wir haben insgesamt zu zahlen in One FIBA ca. 81 Millionen an Gehältern. Das ist, wenn Sie die Gesamtsumme sehen, ungefähr 20%. Das ist für ein Unternehmen und eine Firma, ich glaube, exzellent. Sie sehen, was wir an Büro und Verwaltung haben. Dort kommen natürlich auch sehr viele Reisen hinzu. Gerade wir als internationales Unternehmen sind auf Reisen angewiesen. Dann kommt der größte Faktor, den wir haben, und auch das ist richtig so, mit 156 Millionen, das sind unsere Veranstaltungen. Dann dazu noch Wettbewerbe und die Unterstützung von nationalen Föderationen mit insgesamt 32 Millionen. FIBA-Führung, Good Governance, was alles dazu gehört, das sind 7,9 Millionen in der gesamten Zeit in den 4 Jahren. Dann Basketballentwicklung, wieder eine große Summe und die Entwicklung auch in den nationalen Föderationen mit insgesamt 60 Millionen. Abschreibungen, wenn man ein Haus hat, muss man auch Abschreibungen vornehmen. Das ist nun mal so, in Höhe von 17,3 Millionen. Und dann gibt es weitere finanzielle, nicht operative Ereignisse, die wir haben, in Höhe von 30 Millionen, die dazukommen, sodass wir da die Gesamtausgaben in Höhe von 424 Millionen haben. Das sind die Gesamtsummen. Nun darf ich ein klein wenig auf die nächste Summe gehen, das, was ich Ihnen vorhin verdeutlicht habe. Wir haben, wenn wir jetzt das sehen, das sind die Gelder, die 82 Millionen, wo ich vorhin zu Anfang von gesprochen habe, wo wir stolz drauf sind, die an die nationalen Mitgliedsorganisationen geflossen sind. Einmal natürlich Entwicklung und Jugendförderung, der große Faktor, fast mehr als 50% mit 41 Millionen. Dann haben wir viele andere Themen noch ausgeführt, die Sie alle auch dieser Liste entnehmen können. Ich brauche die Zahlen alle nicht einzeln vorlesen. Wie gesagt, Sie bekommen das noch. Wichtig ist nur, und da sehen Sie auch, wie sich was entwickelt, unser Generalsekretär hat von der Versicherung gesprochen. Die Versicherung kostet jetzt ungefähr 9,6 Millionen. Ich bin mir überzeugt davon, dass wir das im nächsten Zyklus nicht mehr erreichen werden. Wir werden dort mehr zahlen müssen, weil auch das nach Covid teurer wird. Sie wissen alle, vieles wird teurer, Hotels werden teurer, alles wird teurer, dann werden auch viele andere Themenfelder teurer. Das heißt, es wird da auch Veränderungen noch geben. Ja, das ist der Punkt, den wir an die Verbände fließen lassen und das ist für uns auch eine wichtige Summe. Für uns dann in der nächsten, für uns unsere liquiden Mittel. Auch da sehen Sie einfach, wie unsere liquiden Mittel verteilt sind und dort sehen Sie, und das ist ganz einfach dann zu erklären, warum wir an vielen Stellen hochgehen. 2019 waren wir quasi Weltmeisterschaft. Das Geld für die Weltmeisterschaft hatten wir schon im Vorfeld. 2020 sind die Olympischen Spiele gekommen. Eigentlich der erste Teil vom IOC, den wir immer bekommen, aber die Olympischen Spiele wurden 2021 durchgeführt, also bekamen wir die Gelder natürlich, die restlichen in 21. Bedeutet, dass unsere liquiden Mittel in 21 wesentlich höher gestiegen sind und wir daher auf diese Summe von 28 Millionen gekommen sind. Nachdem dann alles bezahlt worden ist, ist bei uns dann wieder einiges gesunken an liquiden Mitteln. Das sind die 38 Millionen liquide Mittel, von denen ich zu Anfang geredet habe. In 23 wird es jetzt wieder, wenn man den Ausblick sieht, mehr sein, weil wir dankenswerterweise durch die Weltmeisterschaften und durch die Zahlungen der Ausrichter der Weltmeisterschaften, insbesondere in diesem Falle Katar, ganz herzlichen Dank, wieder zu höheren liquiden Mitteln kommen, die wir in diesem Moment haben, aber die wir natürlich immer für 4 Jahre verbuchen müssen. Wir kriegen die im Jahr der Vergabe, aber die Zahlungen stehen dann erst an. Das war für die 2019 genauso. Dort haben wir die Gelder in 2015 bekommen und 2019 war dann die Weltmeisterschaft. Ich möchte dann so ein klein wenig zum Abschluss fast auf unsere Bilanz nochmal hinweisen. Unsere Bilanzen werden natürlich immer und unsere gesamten Accounts, unsere gesamte Buchführung wird vor Ort von den Schweizer Assessoren, Kontrolleuren, Steuerberatern, Wirtschaftsprüfern geprüft. Und die haben ihr Testat gegeben und haben deutlich gemacht und gesagt, dass die FIBA sehr gesund und sehr gut aufgestellt ist. Wir haben natürlich, wenn man es jetzt so sieht, unsere Verbindlichkeiten sind erheblich gesunken. und unser Eigenkapital ist etwas gestiegen. Warum sind unsere Verbindlichkeiten gesunken? Weil wir unter anderem das Hausdarlehen bezahlt haben für unser Haus in Mie. Das bedeutet natürlich auch, dass unser Vermögen, das wir hatten, weil wir das natürlich unser Darlehen auch zahlen mussten, dass unser Vermögen natürlich auch etwas gesunken ist in den Jahren. Aber insgesamt haben wir natürlich jetzt ein schuldenfreies Haus, das man ja im kaufmännischen Bereich als sogenannte stille Reserve bezieht, haben wir dieses Haus in der Schweiz stehen. Sie sehen also, unsere Bilanz ist nicht nur ausgeglichen, sondern auch mit dem entsprechenden Eigenkapital, das wir immer nachweisen können, wollen, müssen, dürfen, entsprechend sehr positiv und sehr gut. Meine Damen und Herren, bevor ich nun zum Ende komme, möchte ich noch mal ganz deutlich sagen, dass die Finanzen der FIBA in einem unglaublich guten Zustand sind, dass wir sicher sind, dass wir auch keine Probleme haben. Unsere Partner, unsere Institutionen, auch unsere Verbände zahlen auch ordentlich. Natürlich gibt es hier und da mal irgendwo auch kleine Probleme, die auch kommen, was ganz normal ist, aber die löst man gemeinsam, indem man Zahlungsfristen erledigt und auch mit den einzelnen Föderationen redet. Unsere Partner und Sponsoren sind äußerst zuverlässig. Unser Venue- und Equipment Center, was für uns auch wichtig ist, hat tolle neue Ideen. Lieber Bart, herzlichen Dank an dieser Stelle schon mal. Dort kommt auch einiges herein. Und ich glaube auch, wenn ich jetzt unsere Stiftung noch mit einbeziehe, die ja nicht Bestandteil dieser Finanzen ist, wenn ich unsere Stiftung noch mit einbeziehe, dann kann ich sagen, dass die FIBA insgesamt sehr, sehr gut finanziell aufgestellt ist. Meine Damen und Herren, ich würde mich natürlich freuen und ich habe jetzt einfach mal ein Bild rausgesucht aus unserem Fotowettbewerb. Für mich ist das immer so, wenn dann wir einen großen Basketball haben und möglichst viele Leute da $1 oder einen Schweizer Franken oder einen Euro reinwerfen, dann täte uns das auch gut. Und je mehr Leute uns hinterher helfen in finanzieller Art und Weise, dann muss ich ganz ehrlich sagen, wäre das schön. Das hat mich so ein klein wenig an das Bild erinnert, was ich dort sehe. Ich möchte mich natürlich bedanken, an allererster Stelle einmal bei den 5 Zonen, bei den Verantwortlichen der 5 Zonen in den jeweiligen Finanzbüros, die das exzellent gemacht haben, auch bei den Direktoren der Zonen, die alle 5 immer darauf achten, dass das Geld gut, souverän und nicht verschwendet wird, sondern gut und souverän ausgegeben wird. Ein herzliches Dankeschön bitte an euch 5. Es macht Spaß, mit euch dort zusammenzuarbeiten, auch wenn man über Budget natürlich manchmal hart diskutiert, aber das kennt, glaube ich, jeder in seinem eigenen Verband auch. Das gehört, glaube ich, dazu. Die 4 Jahre waren sehr gut und die 4 Jahre haben uns, glaube ich, insgesamt auch zusammengeschweißt. Danken möchte ich natürlich dem Central Board und dem Executive Committee für das Vertrauen. Danken möchte ich natürlich dem Präsidenten, der fast bei jeder Finanzkommissionssitzung dabei war und immer auch vor meiner Zeit schon den Finanzbereich und die Finanzkommission mit begleitet und mit betreut hat. Herzlichen Dank an den Generalsekretär, der ab und zu mal mit Fragen, die mich dann wieder ärgern, den Finger in die Wunde legt und sagt, was ist denn da und das musst du mir jetzt mal erklären. Und dann muss auch der Schatzmeister mal bei ihm im Büro stramm stehen und sagen, ja, das ist so und so und so. Aber er macht das sehr gut, von daher an dieser Stelle auch vielen Dank dafür. Danke auch als letztes an meine Finanzkommission, die mit vielen guten Ratschlägen immer parat war und uns geholfen hat. Sei es im Risikomanagement, welches wir ja auch vornehmen und übernehmen müssen, welches sehr intensiv ist und was wir auch in jeder Finanzkommissionssitzung vornehmen, sei es aber auch dafür, um zu überlegen, wie machen wir was, wie werden wir welches Budget denn auch genehmigen, wie wird was geprüft, und da sind die Diskussionen in der Finanzkommission immer sehr, sehr positiv. Meine Damen und Herren, es war mir eine Freude, die Finanzen der FIBA 4 Jahre lang verwalten zu dürfen. Wie Sie sehen, Ich glaube, dass wir insgesamt dieses sehr gut gemacht haben und das in einer nicht schwierigen Zeit, sondern in einer sehr schwierigen Zeit, die für uns natürlich überhaupt nicht einfach war. Zunächst Covid, danach dann viele andere Probleme und Schwierigkeiten noch, aber auch das haben wir alles gemeistert. Meine Damen und Herren, ich danke Ihnen, es war mir eine Freude.
Merci bien, Ingo. Vielen Dank. Est-ce qu'il y a des commentaires, des observations sur le rapport du trésorier? Merci bien. Le rapport du trésorier est adopté. Nous sommes dans le temps. On a juste un dépassement de 6 minutes, mais nous allons prendre une pause déjeuner et la reprise est prévue pour 14 heures, s'il vous plaît. Ok, Ok, merci bien, cher Ingo. Je disais donc que le rapport du trésorier est adopté. Nous sommes dans le temps. On a juste un dépassement de 6 minutes qui est vraiment acceptable. Donc, s'il vous plaît, pas une pause, déjeuner tout de suite et la reprise est prévue pour 14 heures. Merci d'être là pour qu'on puisse terminer tôt et nous préparer pour aller effectivement donc, à la cérémonie du Hall of Fame, comme vous le savez, qui est prévue cet après-midi. Merci bien, bon déjeuner et à 14 heures. La séance est suspendue. Merci bien.
Henderson to Jones.